Hey there, this is Pascal and the rest of the team, Scott and Jamie. Giving you a few updates. We've been radio silent for since the departure, but I'm going to catch up now. So here's day one. Day one, we left from Qitdlarssuaq and headed for Qitdlarssuaq. It was kind of incredible, actually, to finally get going after so many false starts and snafus and etc. Felt great. It was just such a moment. A lot of the villagers all came down to bid a farewell, and lots of family members of the hunters who were heading out, so it was actually very special. And then when the 5 sleds just started sliding down the fjord, all kind of scattered through the icebergs, it was just a really incredible moment. But anyways, and then we were headed for Qitdlarssuaq. We knew ahead of time that there was going to be open water at the edge of one of the peninsulas, so the flow edge had made it there, so we knew that we were going to have to hop onto the ice foot on the land. But what turned out to be a quick and easy kind of full day jaunt to Qitdlarssuaq ended up being quite an ordeal. So that ice foot was huge piled up ice chunks, and we slowly, with a lot of pushing and prying, weaved our comatics through there, helping each other out. We actually had 2 runner failures on 2 separate sleds where we had to do major trail repairs on the sleds. So anyways, we continued on, but we arrived into Qitdlarssuaq in the pretty dark end of day, and it was incredible there too. The villagers all came out and helped us stake down all the dogs and greeted us in their homes. So, I mean, a wonderful arrival into Qitdlarssuaq despite us being very tired and late. So, yeah, incredible day one, not without its hiccups. All right, stay tuned for day 2. Bye-bye. All right, hi again. This is a day 2 update. So, this is about leaving the little village of Qitdlarssuaq and heading to the base of the glacier that we were going to ascend to get onto the ice cap. So we knew from our late arrival of day 1 that we were going to need some time in the morning. So we had set a 5 p.m. go time, and everybody worked on their sleds, doing some repairs, improving some lashing, and of course, a lot of our hunters were from Qitdlarssuaq, so they visited with family. But then we had another curveball, like almost everything in this project so far, because of the flow edge coming in so early. We couldn't continue to sled around the next peninsula to get up on an easier route up. We kind of knew that going into it, so we had already had a meeting with the hunters before departure about alternative glaciers that we could take. So we had our plan to go up the Meehan Glacier. But when we got there, we got news from one of the most, reputable and really known to be a strong hunter, that he had attempted that glacier last week with his dog team and encountered blue ice and very not vertical, but steep terrain and never made it up. So with that news in the morning, we had to reshuffle again, knowing that there was a big chance we would not make it up onto the ice cap. So we replanned, got back, downloaded more maps, got back on the maps, and came up with I don't know what plan FGH we're up to now, in case the dogs couldn't make it, that the skiers would get dropped off much earlier than planned. So we scrambled, prepared more food so that we could do the dog part on ski and continue with our objectives. So it was a pretty busy day, but we were out at 5 o'clock and headed for the glacier and arrived at the glacier as the sun was setting. Cool air right off the ice cap. We could just feel the drastic change right away. And we all just set up our tent and got ready for the big day ahead of going up onto the ice cap. So, that's day 2. Everyone's doing well. Everyone is still super pumped. And, talk to you day 3. Bye-bye. Hello, here we are, day 3 update. So today is the big day where we're going to climb up the glacier. I think everyone was a little nervous, even some of the, more rookie hunters that were there to learn from the elders. You could see, they're like, okay, here we go. But we got up to a nice sunny day, and, even just trying to figure out where to start, Lonnie and one of the elders, Otto, went the night before for several hours up the glacier on foot to scout a route. Came back and said it was pretty iffy, quite icy and steeper than expected. So anyhow, we set off, and of course it was a lot of work. So never sitting on the sled, obviously, and tons of pushing and 2 or 3 people pushing. And then we got to some parts where it was so steep we had to tie up 2 dog teams to pull up one sled and then shuttle that way. But I am just astounded at what those dogs can do and the humans, and the terrain we were able to cover was extreme. If we did start to lose it, you would basically just slide down. So it was something else. We slowly inched our way up that glacier, periodically taking breaks, letting the dogs rest after with the rope and ice axe to scout the route. And to everyone's happiness and just belief almost for me, we actually made it, not quite to the ice cap, but just below, which is what we wanted, because we didn't want to sleep on the ice cap if we didn't have to. So, incredible accomplishment. I can't believe, for Scott and I, who hadn't done much in our lives, we basically went from 0 to double black diamond. Lonnie said that that ice foot we did between Connick and Sirapaluk was some of the roughest stuff he'd ever traveled on in his entire circumnavigation of Greenland, and this glacier was just another level. So yeah, some extreme dog mushing, that's for sure. Jamie loved it. She's an experienced musher and discovered a whole new world of mushing. It was just so much fun to watch her. Big smile all day. So yeah, anyways, we were worked. We had a few pulled hamstrings, pulled calf. So everyone was pretty worked by the end of that day. But we made it. That was a major milestone. At that point, nothing could stop us. We could see the ice cap. All right. Bye-bye. Hello again. This is the Day 4 update. We were very excited in the morning and woke up to winds picking up and kind of channeling down the glacier. We were camped in an area that had some sastrugi, which isn't great, but we could see the sastrugi was a little worse, so that's why we called in the night before. And the hunters set it up, their typical hunting tent for us instead of us staying in the cold, unheated tent. So it was a super special treat. We had heat all night and dried everything, and then woke up eager to go. But then we could see on the ice cap ground blizzard. Like, you could just hear the winds roaring and see the whiteout. But where we were was sunny, so we decided to hold up. And then later in the, probably midday, we could see it subside, so we packed up and, originally the plan had been to just finish the last little bit off the glacier, get on the ice cap, and zip down across really fast. I think it's about 70 kilometers, to the Renslow Bay Hut, which is where we were going to hold up and take off for our crossing. But, of course, the terrain was not at all what we had expected. So, it got pretty steep. We had to double team, even triple team, dog team the last little stretch of uphill, up the glacier. And then just when we started to see it level off and head for the ice cap, we ran into incredibly huge, 6, 7, 8 foot high sastrugi. So big holes, big uneven terrain to wiggle through, so much work, and the dogs were exhausted, we were exhausted, but we were just slowly inching up, with a heavy wind forecast for the next day. So we were quite worried because, it's not a good place, to be in these huge sastrugi that are caused by high winds funneling through off the ice cap down the glacier. So anyhow, we kept going along, and eventually Jamie fell through a crevasse, but she was hanging on to the back of the Comatic. So although the hole was huge, probably about busted open about 5 foot around her, and it was an incredibly huge crevasse, and she was hanging. The sled kept going, and she cleared it, but it really did spook the hunters, and us, obviously. And we had another sled failure for one of the runners. So progress was slow, windstorm coming, dogs exhausted. Hi again, not sure where my last day 4 update cut off, but I'm going to pick up where I think it left off. So yeah, Jamie fell through a crevasse. The sastrugi was huge. We had another runner break. So we eventually, and with no end in the sastrugi in sight, one of the elders thought there was probably still another 20 kilometers of that. There was no way we could make the time and then camp safely. So, yeah, the dogs had to turn around. So that was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it was a little bit chaotic for us. We decided to stay and had to sort through everything real quick, and had to get moving ASAP because we did not want to get stuck in that huge sastrugi knowing there was a windstorm coming. So it was hard to say goodbye, hard to sort through all the chaos and move to yet another plan. I don't know, now we're probably up to MNOP, I don't know. But off there we go. So we loaded up, and it was just impossible to pull those pulks through those huge sastrugi. So we had to make a call right there to shorten our aspirations to cross the Grise Fjord, and just hope to do a nice, tour and investigation, basic exploration of Inglefield land here. There's a lot of archaeological sites to see, a lot of Qitdlarssuaq sites to see. We'd love to go to Renzo Bay, get eyes on the ice. So yeah, that was the plan. We had to offload the Grise Fjord food and fuel. And we basically triple carried the pulks as far as we could out of the sastrugi. Couldn't get out of the sastrugi. Forgot to mention that Scott fell through a crevasse earlier too. We poked through quite a few, so we were in a heavily crevassed area. So anyhow, eventually our night fell, we had no more lights, so we couldn't navigate safely. So we dug down into a huge sastrugi, ended up finding a crevasse. But it was firm enough, so we're sleeping in a sastrugi on a sled crest, and hunkered down for the night. So yeah, very exhausted. Long day. By the time we were done making water and eating, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, that was our day 4. Bye-bye. Hi, day 5. So, going to bed at 2 and slept till noon. It was just a huge windstorm out there. Ground blizzard, the sun went white out with snow flying everywhere. So we had breakfast at 2. It was a 2 p.m. much needed rest day. We couldn't really do much in terms of sorting and trying to make our pulks better balanced so they can navigate through the sastrugi better. We just couldn't be outside. It was just really hard. We spent all our energy just making sure the tent was well protected, and recovering of it. So really uneventful day 5. We're still struggling with some emotions, knowing that our objective of crossing to Canada is now impossible. And we're poring over the maps, trying to figure out what we're going to do and what the terrain's going to look like. So everyone's still fine. We're staying warm. Everything's working out great. Stay tuned for our next day. We'll see. We don't know what it's going to bring. All right. Bye-bye. Hello, this is the day 6 update, calling you from our Hilleberg home, where we're staying nice and cozy. After yesterday's pretty strong ground blizzard. Today ended up being a kind of a snowy whiteout day, but with calm winds. So we couldn't really move too much, and we had a forecast of rising winds, which never came yet. But it was great. It allowed us time to come up with a new plan and reorganize all our food and fuel and gear for this new plan. So Scott and Jamie went out on a scouting mission to see if the sastrugi holes improve. They kind of do and don't. But anyway, so our new plan is to go to Rensler Bay Hut, check out some of the Qitdlarssuaq sites, the archaeological sites, and then come back here and down to Qitdlarssuaq. So we just packed 20 days of food and fuel, and we are ready to go tomorrow. We're actually having to shuttle the sleds again, where 2 or 3 people are pulling one up a pretty steep, lumpy section, so that we're in position tomorrow to pull each our own sleds on our own. That's the goal. Yeah, so we have a plan. That feels really nice, and we'll see how it all unfolds. It's been a curveball every step of the way. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention was just how we all know climate change is around, but it really hits you when you're seeing it day in and day out, really impacting all the classic routes that the hunters have been using for hundreds of years. You know, the Qitdlarssuaq route, having to take that really hot, rough ice foot, and then not being able to take the usual glaciers, and then even this glacier having no snow. There's no snow this year. That's why it was so hard and icy. So very little snow, more crevasses, and of course the open water up at Smith Sound. So all of it, it's just everywhere, and it's disheartening. But anyways, we trudge on. We're looking forward to making our way up and across. So yeah, we'll keep you posted. Not sure if we're going to move tomorrow. There's pretty heavy winds in the forecast, but we'll be ready as soon as we get to go. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.